that your brain is developing a different mechanic of movement and a different mechanic of control, and when you start swapping between them, then it's hard to get used to it. I suppose for people that are Anglo speakers or English speakers, Anglophones I think is probably the word I should have used there. I'd liken it a bit to trying to learn Italian and Spanish at the same time, where to a native English speaker, the languages sound very similar. They've got a lot of similar words, but there's a lot of subtle differences between them that would make it very hard to learn both at the same time. If you're trying to do flight assist off at the same time as assisted flight, then your brain is trying to sustain two different mechanics to do the same thing, and so it becomes much harder. Whereas if you can commit to flight assist off, and then only use assisted flight at certain points for things that you find just too hard until you get used to the mechanics. So for example, for quite a long time a week or so, when I started learning flight assist off, I would still go into assisted flight just to dock because it was frustrating and confusing, and it just it was depressing trying to dock to start off with.
It was depressing.
Oh
yeah, I can see how it's depressing to try and learn this.
So the sort of stages that I went through, especially because I was in a racing Viper at the time as well, was I would start off by committing to flight assist off as much as possible, and then I got to the point where I would then go into assisted flight just to dock, and then I fitted a docking computer, and when you're in assisted flight, docking computer engages when you're below a certain speed. When you're in flight assist off, docking computer won't engage at all. So what I'd do is I would come to a pad and I would try for as long as I would manage before I got too frustrated, usually about 5 minutes or so, of skating around the pad in flight assist off before I just give up and turn flight assist back on, hit zero throttle, and then let the computer just finish off docking for me. But the point was that I wasn't just committing to letting the computer do it for me. I was spending a good amount of time trying to figure out what I was doing before letting the computer take over. And I really recommend not becoming too dependent on a docking computer, because especially when it comes to the mechanics of flight assist off, which is so heavily dependent on having instantaneous output of all those different directional thrusters, that one of the best opportunities to actually do that in a relatively fixed state is docking at outposts, and then doing that at a state fixed to a moving object is inside a Coriolis or inside an Ocellus or inside an orbit station. So if you're not using that opportunity to build in the muscle memory for using those directional thrusts, if you're using a docking computer to take over for you, then you're not developing the muscle memory and the sort of intuition to the game mechanics that you need to be able to commit to flight assist off.